Hey everybody, Thursday morning on my way to work, and I should be on time. I left a little later. I was really tired this morning, so I didn't really want to get out of bed. You can tell I'm still sleepy. And I actually went to bed without doing much anything last night. I didn't get on YouTube or anything last night, so probably behind on watching some videos. Anyway, I'm just trying to figure out what we're gonna do this weekend. I don't think there's been any decisions made. Our anniversary is next Tuesday, the 5th. So I'm trying to figure out if we're going to do something this weekend or next weekend or what. So it's undecided at this point. And I thought about going to San Antonio, but someone doesn't want to go to San Antonio, which is fine. I just want to go and eat one of those gigantic pizzas, and I've been wanting to do that for so long. And I want to vlog that, but we'll go another time. It's no big deal. And then I was thinking, I'm going to try to get the GoPro up this weekend and go get the bicycle mount to mount it to the bicycle. And then that way, yeah, some idiot just ran a red light. That was real smart. That way you get a view of what I'm seeing when I'm riding my bike, and then I'll have one camera on me. And when I get the editing rig up, I can do them split screen on it for the bike vlog. And if that actually turns out to be kind of fun and interesting, I might do those like that on a regular basis and take the bike to other places and ride it. So anyway, I guess I'll tell you guys a story today because I don't really have anything else to talk about. I mean, there's not really anything else going on. So it's just life, same old, same old. So nothing exciting going on, nothing crazy going on. So anyway, I'll tell you this story. We used to have a flower shop in the town that we live in. And we had antiques and all that, and it was inherited by my wife when her mother passed away. And so we always had problems with customers. That's all. I'll never own another store in my life. We have the nonprofit now, which is fine, and we have enough problems with people expecting us to basically provide them a living, even though that's not our responsibility. But when we had the nonprofit, or when we had the flower shop, we just had to deal with nutcases all the time, like all the time. Especially when you deliver flowers and you have people, you know, or delivery drivers that come back and say, this lady, I was knocking on their door, and then she answered the door and she was completely naked and had a gun in her hand. And you know, people are completely irrational. And I don't say that they're that way just in Texas. I think they're that way everywhere. That they always assume the worst, especially when some little girl's got a handful of flowers and she's knocking on your door. I do have to say, I understand the not trusting thing. I used to be a process server, and I've been known to use a few tricks to get people to open the door. So, you know, it is what it is, and people are suspicious of that, and that's fine. But anyway, I think it was a Mother's Day. I know it was a Mother's Day because it was warm. And we had a bunch of people in and out of our store, and we had a bunch of people working for us and doing deliveries, and I actually went out and did deliveries. And so I was doing some deliveries, and when I came back, my wife said that this couple was in the store. There was a bunch of people in the store. She was trying to help everybody out, and she heard some crashing and this guy brought this little plate and this cup, and that wouldn't have been that big of a deal that he broke it, except it was something that was supposed to have been pulled off the shelf because it was something we were keeping. It was actually this set, and the only thing I needed was the teapot, which would have been easy to find, and it was all, I don't know what you call it. It's three-dimensional when you feel it on the outside of the teacups and the little plate and the teapot, and it had dragons on it. And so these were all made in Japan, and so I had 3 of them set aside, but I never could find the 4th one. And then we saw it and I forgot to go grab it. Anyway, this guy broke it, so he goes up there to pay for it, and his wife starts throwing a fit saying that he's not going to pay for that, and that's why we have insurance. And let me explain something. Big companies like Walmart, they don't want you to break their stuff either, but as a group they can go and take all of the broken stuff from all the stores and claim it on insurance. When you have a little store and you have a teacup and a plate that's worth 20 bucks, you can't claim that on your insurance. You have a deductible. Those policies don't cover stuff like that. So that's $20 out of our pocket already if we were going to sell it. And this guy breaks it. His wife refuses to pay for it, and then proceeds to yell at my wife because she won't sell her things out of the store. And I really have to wonder about someone's mental state, that they're like, oh well, I broke something, I'm not going to pay for it, but I want you to sell me a bunch of other stuff. Really? So anyway, when it comes to stuff like that, I get really hot-headed, and I've calmed down in the last few years. And this was, I don't even remember what year this actually was, because when we had that place, the holidays just kind of all ran together. But I said, where did they go? And she said, well, they left. I made them leave. I told them to leave the store. I said, well, I'm gonna go outside. If you see them, point them out. So she goes, there they are right there, and they were coming from a place that was behind our store. And I said, excuse me, I said, you guys were in my wife's store earlier and you broke something, and I don't appreciate you just leaving and not paying for it. You broke it, it's yours. You have to pay for it. I said, our insurance doesn't cover little things like that. Our deductible would be too high. And this man and this woman, who were older, probably in their 60s, decided that screaming at me was the best course of action. And it's usually not, especially not with me. Screaming gets you nowhere. It just pissed me off even more. I'm actually getting pissed off even talking about this story, so I'll try to stay calm. But so of course my wife's hot-headed too, and so she starts yelling at the guy and the woman, and he starts pointing his finger, and he pokes her, and I put my hands in between them and I pushed them both back, because my wife, she won't stop once she gets going, and you just have to make her stop. And so I got her back, and I was like, I pushed him and I said, don't touch my wife. And he proceeded to poke at her again, and I shoved him. I ripped my shirt off. I had a t-shirt on. I pulled my t-shirt off, and I basically told him that I was going to break his hip, because he was old, and I'm sure if I would have put a well-placed kick right in his hip, then he probably would have fallen and broken his hip. And I was ready to beat his ass. And basically what I yelled was, I'm gonna break your effing hip, you old man. And he starts screaming that he used to be a lawyer. Somebody says he used to be a lawyer, they're lying. You don't get out of law, ever. I know lawyers when I grew up that were in their 70s and 80s, and even though they didn't work at a practice, they kept up with everything. And so that way, you know, if they needed to, they could go to court for somebody. You didn't used to be a lawyer unless you were disbarred. So he starts telling me that's assault. And I'm like, damn right it is. You touched my wife. You assaulted her. And I'm defending her. They start screaming about which way is the police station. I said, you ain't got to worry about it. We've already called the police on you. He goes, good, because you're going to jail, because threatening me is assault. And that's not true. You look up whatever law you want. If I threaten you, it's a threat. It's not assault. Me shoving him would have been assault if I hadn't have been defending my wife. So this guy's already screwed. And so they keep screaming, and then they were like, well, we're just gonna leave. And we're like, no, actually you're not. You're gonna wait for the cops now. We're like, you wanted the cops? That's exactly what you're gonna get. And the guy started to realize that he wasn't a lawyer. He was just a loudmouth, and he wasn't gonna get anywhere. And so my favorite cop shows up. I say favorite. I know a little past history on this person, and he ain't worth the damn. And he knows I don't like him. And he knows I don't care for him, and that's fine. And he leaves me alone. And he shows up and is talking about how he's going to take me to jail for assault and all this. And I'm like, dude, I've got 20, 30 witnesses that'll tell you that he assaulted my wife. And I said, he's lucky he's still standing upright, and I just didn't beat his ass. And he goes, well, you can't threaten people. And I said, damn right I can. I'm like, if somebody touches my wife, I can defend her. And if that means that I got to punch this guy in the face and knock him out to get him away from my wife, then that's what I do. And I said, he's lucky, because the only thing I did was shove him and threaten to break his hip. And cop was talking to them and being all sweet and calming them down. The thing that the police officer didn't realize is that my friend was on duty, and he outranks him. So my friend shows up, like, what did you do this time? Not that I get in trouble, he just likes to mess with me, and we've had trouble with people in the past with some other issues. We've had to call the cops on people. So he starts talking to me and telling the whole story, and he goes, so he assaulted her? And I said, yes. And he said, and you pushed him, and you told him that if you did it again, you were going to hurt him. And I said, yes. And not in so many words, but that's basically what I meant. He goes, okay. So he tells the other officer, he goes, he said, I'll take care of it. He said, I'm not taking that guy to jail. He said, there's witnesses that say that the guy assaulted his wife. He had every right to defend him. And this other police officer that I don't like came from another city, and I know people that grew up in that city and don't have anything nice to say about him, and why our city still employs him, I have no idea why. Anyway, so my buddy said, he said, next time, he said, just take your wife, put her back in the shop, call the cops. And he said he'd go to jail. And I said, we should go to jail now. And he said, do you want to press charges? And I said, it depends. And he goes, on what? And I said, if they'll leave and not come back, I don't care. I just don't want them back in our town. So he basically told them that he could arrest the guy for assault because he started it. He said it doesn't matter who started yelling at who first, which they started yelling at us first. He said the problem is that you touched his wife, you assaulted her. He said it doesn't matter what he did to you after that or what he said to you. He said you assaulted his wife and you can go to jail. And he said they're willing not to press charges, but he said you need to get in your car, get on the highway, go to wherever you came from, and don't ever come back to this town. He said we don't appreciate people coming to our town, disrupting people's lives, breaking things in their stores and refusing to pay for them, and then assaulting people. He said you need to leave and not come back. A couple got in their car and drove off. Of course, who knows knows if they ever came back, and who cares? I'm not really that worried about it. But it did kind of piss me off at the time, and it pisses me off now, because these people just assume, oh, well, you pay good money for insurance. Well, yeah, I do, but it doesn't cover every little thing I break. I have to add all that up in a year and then make a claim, and if it's not above my deductible, it's not worth it. I have a deductible. It's not like my deductible is like $2. It was probably closer to about $1,500 to $2,000, because insurance is so expensive. So that's just a little lesson for you guys. Make sure when you go into a place that you're very careful with their merchandise. If you break it, offer to pay for it. Be a decent person. Don't be some jackass who thinks he used to be a lawyer, then all of a sudden you can just do whatever you want and it's okay. It's not okay. And actually could have been charged with something, I'm sure. Well, our police department probably not, but luckily I never saw him again, and then we got rid of the business, and so we didn't have that headache anymore, have to deal with all that, and have to deal with horrible people. So anyway, I don't think I've ever threatened any old people since then. Well, there was a guy, which is a totally different story, that I got into in our town, whose spouse was an official within the town that escalated pretty fast. And it's still, to this day, there's a lot of animosity on that, especially on my end, because anytime I see this person, he stares at me, and one of these days I'm gonna snap, because I just can't deal with people like that. Just go away. You know, if you can't be a decent person, then just go away, go live somewhere else. So anyway, that's basically my story of the day. And the reason that I told the story is that my wife said that she told one of her workers at the nonprofit about the story, because she thinks the story's funny, because I ripped my shirt off and told the guy I was going to break his hip. Which, it is kind of funny that I said that, but the whole story and the whole everything still makes me mad. And I think it's just because we had so many problems in that store with people coming in and telling us what to do or how to run our business, and what we should be carrying because that's what they like. And you know, the world's not built for you, it's built for everyone. And so if some store doesn't carry what you want, you go find a store that does. You don't harass that store. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, I'm nearly to work, so you guys have a good day. Make sure that you give me a thumbs up. Get your friends to watch the videos, even if they don't give me a thumbs up or subscribe. Having a bunch of views is cool. It makes me see that what I'm doing is worth it, and you guys like, you know, the format and everything. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow, and you'll have a great day.